He is the modern-day Don Nehlen.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
He's bought into the program.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
Let them know. Leave no doubt tonight. Leave no doubt tonight. No doubt. They shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue.
I was watching ESPN today and they showed a little thing about our game tonight in a poll. And the whole U.S. was covered in red. And the only state, the greatest state in the nation, was covered in blue, and that was West Virginia. And that's why we won this game.
Trust the climb.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into another edition of the Country Roads webcast, off-season live streams, Q&As, whatever you want to call it, coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Got Steven and Bradley here with me tonight. Got the full team together for this live stream. How's it going, gentlemen?
Oh, it's been a long day.
I heard that.
I did a full 12 hours
of
of
grass
work today.
and stuff myself. Oh, yeah. So you're feeling it too. Yeah, I was off today, but I mowed the grass and worked outside up until about the time to get ready and do the stream and stuff. So, yeah, I feel you there. What about you, Steven?
Yeah, not really too much. I had an off day today as well, but I didn't really do too much. I watched She-Hulk.
Oh,
nice.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I watched that the other day. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I just want to comment. That is a dope hat, Steven. Let me see that.
Hey, thanks, man.
Look at that.
Oh, that's the time to climb one, isn't it? Yeah,
that boy's
that
clean,
thing's nice.
man.
That's what you get when you donate,
that
man.
thing
That's
is nice.
what you get.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
That time to climb. Yeah, I love it.
Had to bring that
But
up.
yeah. So all decided to gather here. Of course, we were going to do a Q&A live stream anyway, tonight or tomorrow night. Decided to go ahead with it tonight after the past 2 days. We've had some news drop from the CRW side, for the Country Roads webcast team, some exciting things for the future, and just wanted to update you guys on that and what that means going forward. So we'll get into that first. And you guys, of course, always drop your questions, comments, concerns, anything in the chat. We'll answer any WVU football questions you got. We'll catch up on that momentarily and the show as we go along. Always welcome in the Q&A. Appreciate you guys for dropping those in there. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. Okay. So here we are. We had one announcement was made day before yesterday, and the other one was made today. I just kind of took both of them and molded them into one picture, and we'll go through them here. Starting with the one the day before yesterday, which is WV Sports Now. They decided to add a official fan podcast for their network, the Sports Now network, the WV Sports Now side of the Sports Now network, and we were lucky enough to be chosen to be that fan podcast. So it says here, in an effort to offer something for every kind of fan, we have decided to include a fan podcast as part of the WVSN side of the Sports Now podcast network. We're taking a show created by fans and hosted by fans. So if you feel you don't connect with a media member telling you what he or she thinks of what happens or knows what's going to happen based on inside information, the show might be more what you want. With that said, I want to introduce the Country Roads webcast and some very passionate West Virginia fans, Jordan Cruz, Bradley Brown, Stephen Vestal. As you all know, us three. In addition to their own platforms, you'll be able to find this show on our site and on the WVU Sports Now YouTube channel. The Country Roads webcast now joins Asty's Mike Drop show, which is also part of the Believe Network, and Mike and Rasheed Marshall's show as the third official show for the WVSN side of the Sports Now Network. So basically, our show, our podcast episodes that we release, of course, periodically throughout the off season, but we get 2 a week. Going into the 5th season of doing this now, our previews and our recaps will also be on the WVU Sports Now YouTube in addition to ours, and then they will probably post the audio version on theirs as well. So not too much different for you guys that tune into the show, but we would like you to subscribe to the WVU Sports Now channel. I have that linked in the chat down below. And then also linked in the chat down below is the West Virginia Mountaineers channel at the Voice of College Football Network. The other piece of news that was announced today is that we will actually be hosting the West Virginia post-game shows on that channel there. So subscribe to that as well. It's also linked in the chat. We will be hosting there starting in week 2. We're all 3 going to the Backyard Brawl, so we won't be hosting that one. Me and Steven will be at the Kansas game. We're going to try and hop on there, but Bradley will be your main host for week 2 and likely week 3 as well. But throughout the season, it'll be 2 to 3 of us on there every week, hosting the West Virginia post-game shows on the Voice of College Football Network, West Virginia Mountaineers channel. So subscribe to that. And how that's going to work as well is the audio from that we will put on our podcast platforms and will serve as our post-game.
Oh, Jordan stroked out.
As well. And of course, that'll be on our now Network. So multiple places to find the Country Cast now is what it all boils down to. That being said, gentlemen, if I can get this off my screen here and get us back regular. All right. So thoughts, gentlemen, 5 years doing the podcast, a few years of us doing it all 3 together, attached to a couple different networks for the first time ever, one being, YouTube exclusive, and then our podcast being the official podcast now of the WVU Sports Now network on the Sports Now Network side there, WVSN side of the Sports Now Network.
I mean, I'm super thankful for you guys to say I was the newest addition. Obviously, Steven and Jordan have been doing this for a while, and I'll tell you guys a little bit of actually how I got introduced. We're all from the same area, but a few years ago, I just really loved Mountaineer sports, and I was kind of getting tired of a certain news outlet that I was looking at, and I agreed to not watch it anymore. And I always really appreciated what Steven and Jordan were putting out. I really appreciated those guys, and so I just started commenting them up. And one day they decided they were going to do a podcast, and I think it was just not even video then; it was just over voice. And I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, let me jump in there." And I was like, I just graduated college. I needed an outlet for a hobby to do something, and I really loved these guys. I loved what they did, quality content right here with these two. And so 3 years ago when they were like, "Yeah, just pop on," I never thought that we would grow to this level, and that we would be making these kind of moves. And I'm super thankful for Sports Now and the chance that they're giving us, and the Voice of College Football over there with Mark Rogers. And I'm excited for you fans. We've got to grow with you guys. I love to get to know you guys, the people that we have in the chat right now. And I just really appreciate you guys, Jordan, Steven, and our fans. So yeah, thanks to everybody.
Well said. And, really, we're glad to take you on. I felt like, especially starting the show, like by myself initially, it was really hard. And then I brought in Steven, a little bit later, and it got easier. And then me bringing in a third host, I think it gets even easier because you can bounce stuff off one another, and it's really more entertaining when you have interaction and you have, conflict, sometimes disagreements, things like that. So it's always fun to have that as well. And so I don't think the show would be what it is without all of us involved. Steven, what about you? Like I said, I initially started the show, by myself, did a couple episodes alone, brought you in as a guest for, episode 2 after that. And then you came in as a host, a few episodes later in the very first season of the podcast. So you've been with it almost, since the very beginning, and, even to the point now hosting the CRW Hoops show, that's your baby there. So, you're going to be on the WVU Sports Now network with that as well. So, just these moves of hosting on the Voice of College Football Network and the WVU Sports Now network, 5 years later, I never thought we'd be here, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think me and you've sat down and talked about, and even on the show a few times about how, when we started this thing, it was, purely audio and nothing on the video side of it yet. But it would be just you calling me, and then it would just be me. I remember just sitting in my car trying to get, a quiet place where there wasn't enough, no noise in the background, you know, and I think about how far the show's come from just that, and upgrading in equipment, and finding out about new ways to produce the show, and editing software, and making logos, and just all the things that we've been able to learn about and accomplish, I guess, in the last 5 years. It's all been kind of mind blowing how far we've came, but also very fun, and I really appreciate all the things that we've gotten to do. Just through this show, we've gotten to meet a lot of cool people. Just to name a couple of them: Dale Wolfley, Brian Joswiak, and Eugene Napoleon, people like that have come on the show that probably if not for this show, we never would have been able to meet those guys, at least not in this kind of a setting. So that's one of the things that I really truly appreciate about this show, being a Mountaineer fan and growing up a Mountaineer fan. But to be able to get to be on a platform, as big as West Virginia Sports Now and the voice of college football, I think the sky's the limit for us is in terms of where we're going with the show. But I really appreciate everybody that's really tuned in and followed us along the way, and new people that have started to tune in lately. I mean, all of you guys have really been much appreciated with all the questions and everything that y'all join in and ask every single week. So
yeah, I can't say that enough. Wasn't for people tuning in, we probably would have gave up a long time ago, but we kept at it, and the better that we got along the way, the more people that came along. And I think, like you said, audio only at the beginning, didn't really even know what we were doing. When I had you on, it was just over a phone call, playing through a speaker to pick up on my microphone, things like that. And then to where we are now, picking up on the video side, and these past 6 months, especially, really getting up on that. That's really helped, I think, with our experience and our growth. And this is kind of, I don't want to say the culmination of it all. It's kind of just the start of it, if you're asking me. But as my dog goes crazy in the background, somebody must have pulled up outside. But yeah, I think it's really excited about it. And the first episode, the Backyard Brawl preview and prediction show will be up on the WVU Sports Now network tomorrow, alongside of our channel, of course, as well, and all podcast platforms. So be on the lookout for that, kind of our debut on the WVU Sports Now network. That'll be tomorrow about around 8 a.m. probably. So definitely check that out. And we're really excited about that. And then, like I said, we'll all be at the Backyard Brawl. So week 1, we won't be there, but from there on, we'll be hosting the game shows for the West Virginia Mountaineers on the Voice of College Football Network. So tune into that as well. And we appreciate all you that have tuned in today and tonight. And if you are, hit that like button if you're in here. That really helps this video performance and will help the future of the performances of other videos and just the future of the channel as well. That being said, gentlemen, Mountaineer stuff. We'll catch up in the chat momentarily, but I wanted to ask you guys if you guys had anything on your minds, that you wanted to touch on that, we hadn't, since we last recorded or had a live stream, got together, whatever you want to say. Anything WVU related that's been eating at you?
I think the last show that we did, the last live show, I believe I forgot to mention that Alex Ruoff had joined the coaching staff, and everyone pretty much probably already knows that by now. But I wanted to correct myself on bringing forth West Virginia basketball news.
Yeah, everybody misses stuff every now and then. I know I always see something. I'm like, I should have included that, because sometimes it's hard to think about like what's happened since. Because for me, it's hard to think. Did I already report that last time? What's happened since the last time we even recorded, or something like that? So I always miss something.
Yeah, and I think most of the stuff I want to talk about, we're going to cover. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I know the one thing that I know. Talking points wise, I don't really have too much. I was kind of going to let the chat guide us for the most part with their questions and stuff. But the one thing, of course, I think is, Neil Brown did have a press conference, was it yesterday or day before? I can't remember. One of the two. Didn't announce, a starting quarterback, and a lot of people were expecting a depth chart as well, and that didn't happen either. And then since then, Keaton Slovis has been named as a starting quarterback at Pitt. A lot of talk about, Neil Brown not naming a starter Some people think it's a bad thing. Some people think it's just straight gamesmanship. I tend to lean to just the straight gamesmanship side. And I think now that Pitt's announced, it won't probably be long till we announce. But what are your all's thoughts? Do you think that, people are buying into the fact that maybe JT's being pushed, or do you think it's just straight gamesmanship? And are you upset about, us not doing it yet? Do you think we should have?
I guess I'll take this one. I'm not really. I'm with you, Cruz. I don't really think that I'm too stressed out about this one. I think Neil Brown knows what he's doing. He seems really calm in his demeanor whenever he's asked, about that particular situation. So I'm really not reading too much into him not picking one yet. Like I've said before, I really don't think we have a bad option in Garrett Green, but I truly believe that JT Daniels didn't transfer to West Virginia to be the backup quarterback, especially when he's been a starting quarterback at the first 2 stops that he's been at. So yeah, that's purely my take, and I don't really I really don't read too much into QB1 situations whenever we have such, a clear shot, I guess, as a choice. And I guess that's the reason he's not really came out and made a choice yet. And to be honest with you, I didn't really think that Pat Narduzzi was going to make a choice prior to the day before prior to next Wednesday.
That surprised me.
I was really shocked. Yeah, I was really shocked to see that he announced as early as today. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get an announcement as early as next Tuesday. And I wouldn't have thought that a few weeks ago, but
yeah, a lot of people are saying during Neil Brown's coaches show at Kegler's, which I believe is on the 30th, that it could be made then. But at this point, I think it may come sooner than that. But I think we're just delaying the inevitable. It's probably going to be JT. That being said, Bradley, what are your thoughts about no announcement yet, and what are your thoughts about Keaton Slovis being announced at Pitt?
I'm going to address Keaton Slovis first. Again, I didn't think it was going to be that soon, and I took a screenshot of it as soon as it happened today at work, and I meant to send it to you guys and be like, Neil Brown dropping our quarterback in the next 24 hours, because I was like, I think that's just what he's been waiting for. Yeah. But I do got I think a little bit of a spicy take here. I think it's a little bit of texture, a little bit of something different. And it came to me, I was listening to the From the Gun podcast, which is quickly going to become one of my favorites. I'll be honest, I was kind of hesitant at first because they're fairly long episodes, and it's kind of a lot to dive into. But I'm really, really enjoying the perspective of Jed Drenning. And, I think that outside of Jed, I think that from my personal opinion, I think Mike Asaza and Chris Anderson have some of the best insight into what's going on to our program. So that's typically where I go for kind of like the little tidbits and the tasty little, burnt ends on the pan there for, some fun for the tasty bits. And listening to Jed talking, they asked him, they're like, tell us about the quarterback position, because Jed gets to see practices. I'm pretty sure he has more background understanding of what's going on than I think any other media person has right now, And so he was talking about it, and they asked him about the quarterback battle. And he said, JT is as advertised. He's a 5-star quarterback. The man is, he has looked like what he is. And, at this point, it's just repetitions, making sure that he's solid in the set. And, he commented on Goose, and he also commented on Garrett Green. But then he really brought up Nico. And, I think that that's a bit intentional. And, I might be looking into it too much, but darn it, we're fans and we're a podcast, and that's what we're here to do, is to look into it a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
And he said that Nico has stepped up and done some snaps with the first team and has looked really good. And he's been making some flash plays that they have not seen anywhere else. And so my little takeaway from that is that, I think the JT's the guaranteed starter. I think that that's what it's going to be. But I think that Neil Brown has kind of kept this quarterback competition going for Nico. I think that he has left it open to him and said, hey, like, I'm not going to close it off yet. I'm not going to announce, JT Daniels, even though for sure who we're going with. But I want to keep you in that competitor state of mind. I want to keep you in that competition phase. And I really want you to push for this job. I want you to absolutely go out here and play like you can win it every day. And so with it going this long, I think that that's going to end probably tomorrow, because tomorrow or even tonight, probably the deciding factor when they fully announce it. to the team, but because they're going to start actually doing in-game walkthroughs, staying at the hotel tomorrow night at the Marriott, getting things like that going, to them it's going to be settled. But I think that he's left it open so that way, because in my mind, when I was trying to think about this as to why he would be doing it, because I'd never understood why he would not just announce it. Why not build some hype around JT Daniels? And I think this kind of gives me that answer is, he left it open. He kept it fully open for Nico and said, I'm going to give you every chance you get. And you just keep pushing for it and don't stop. Because I think he wanted to see what he would do. Because, if he announces it 2 weeks ago, does Nico kind of back off a little bit? Does he not push as hard? And so, when Neil Brown came out the other day and he says, I can tell you two things. I'm really positive about our present and I'm really positive about our future. And I think that kind of syncs up too a little bit. So I guess my short TLDR response is I think Nico Markhill is maybe not that good to the point where he's taking over JT Daniels, but he is that good where he is definitely making them look at him a little extra. So that's my take of it.
Yeah, I think it's Nico's definitely in contention for that backup job after hearing those comments in my mind, because Neil Brown specifically said he's excited about the present and the future, and to me that screams Nico. We'll see how it plays out though, but like I said, I think people that are worrying about that just need to relax. Neil Brown's choice. Neil Brown knows what he's doing, and most of all, like I've said before, the team knows. The team already knows, and this is mock game week going to be wrapping up now. A week from kickoff tomorrow, about to get into full on game prep. The team already knows, I'm sure. So whether when we find out or not, even if we don't find out till we're down there, at Acrisure Stadium at 7:00 p.m., that's fine with me, just as long as JT does his thing. But that being said, we'll catch up and chat real quick. One more time, I want to remind you guys, in the chat, there is links to the WVU Sports Now channel and links to the Voice of College Football channel. Please subscribe to both of those. As I said, our podcast is now part of the WVU Sports Now channel there on the Sports Now network. Our episodes will be posted on their YouTube as well as our own now, our actual CRW podcast episodes. And then as far as the Voice of College Football network, West Virginia Mountaineers channel, subscribe to that. We'll be hosting post-game shows there throughout the season. Catching up in chat here, Sorgi Stories. Hey guys, saw you on GBD. I thought I'd stop by and say, let's go Mountaineers. Great. Well said, Sorgi. Really appreciate you. Glad you called us on there, and hope you're a new subscriber and you continue to stop by. We're always here, live streams and YouTube exclusive stuff throughout, the week, and then a podcast episode or two a week throughout the season, at least one a week throughout the off season usually. So plenty of West Virginia content for Mountaineer fans, and glad to have you here. Josh Scritchfield, don't think I've seen you in here either before. Josh, welcome. Let's go Mountaineers indeed. Hey, Silas, welcome back. Good to see you in here saying let's go. Let's see. Sorgi Stories hitting subscribe right now. Appreciate that. Here we go. Here's a question from G Smyrna 746. What's going on with Jalen Anderson? You guys heard anything on Jalen Anderson?
I have noticed the lack of Jalen Anderson mention. I will admit that I've noticed the fact that he's not been brought up as much.
Yeah. I've only heard him mentioned one or two times. So,
I think the only time I really heard him mention too much was he was working kick return, but it seems like running back they're mentioning CJ Donaldson a lot more, of course, and Justin Johnson and Mathis already. But I don't know if I'd make anything of that or not. Could just be sneaking him in. I think he's going to play. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see all four running backs play, even if Jalen Anderson's on special teams or whatever. But I think Donaldson's going to play in the first game, boys. I didn't at first, but I think he will now.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the.
He's look who it is.
Yeah, I know. You're looking at the Facebook one.
Oh, the Wolfman. Yeah, we didn't know. We were just talking about you a minute ago, Wolfman. He says, "Boom! What's up, brothers? Hey, what's going on, brother man? Good to see you in here, Wolfly. Hey, if y'all haven't, go subscribe to the Wolfman's Call on YouTube as well. He's been putting out, little practice reports daily, and they've been great. I've been loving those. Wolf, that's good stuff. Loving the channel, and I'm excited for that Mountaineer Legends pregame as well. Subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. Glad to see you in here. Appreciate your support. Got to get you back on here sometime, Wolf.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that episode, you should go back and look at it. I think it was, 3 months ago or something like that, and we were talking about Country Roads Trust.
It was a couple months ago. Now.
And it was a pretty exciting little video. So if you guys get a chance, go back and watch that for sure.
Then Ryan Mathena in the chat. Let's go Mountaineers. Got to get to bed. 3 a.m. comes early. Sheesh, I know how that goes.
Sure
I'm usually
does.
about 5 a.m. myself, but I know how that goes. He says he'll be tuning in back to watch the replay. Appreciate that, Ryan. Always appreciate your support. I know you're a great West Virginia football fan as well, and I appreciate you always tuning in and supporting us. Silas, let's see here. I believe he's talking about Nico here. Yep, Nico is the future. Can't wait to see him on the field in the coming seasons. We'd agree with that as well. Sorgi Story says he wish he could stick around, but he's got to go. See you later. See you, Sorgi. Appreciate you subscribing and tuning in. Catch the rest of it on the playback if you want to. That'll help still. And smash the like button on your way out if you haven't yet. Appreciate that. But gentlemen, we'll catch up in the chat as more questions pop in. Everybody's always encouraged to drop those in there. Any WVU football questions, comments, concerns. We'll talk about whatever you guys want. But in the meantime and in between time, gentlemen, what else is on your mind?
I don't really think about anything, just Pitt.
I was about to say backyard brawl. I mean, I don't want to, we can talk about it a little bit or whatever, but I don't want to give away too much because we got the prediction podcast episode dropping tomorrow. But I'm sure there's something that we could think of at least storyline wise. I know I'm excited to be up there.
Absolutely. I've actually never been in that stadium. And I've only ever been in one NFL stadium. That was down here in Carolina, down in the Charlotte Stadium. I think is it United Bank Stadium? I think that I've been in, but other than that, I've not been in the Steelers Stadium. Have you, Steven?
No, I've never been.
Gotcha.
I have never been. This will be a first for me. The only time I've ever been to Pittsburgh is whenever I went to a Pittsburgh Pirates game.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. So you've only ever been up there like once? I like Pittsburgh. It's been a good time. Also, JT Daniels was put on to the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award watch list. I saw that today. I couldn't remember what it was called, but I wanted to look it up. And, that's like 3 or 4 watch lists that he's put on. And going back to our quarterback story, I don't know how he does. Like, he's getting a lot of hype outside of, what we've been giving him. So.
Yeah, that one, and then there was Sam James, Bryce Ford Wheaton, JT Daniels, and gosh, who was the other one? James Committer, maybe put on the Senior Bowl watch list.
Senior Bowl watch list, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sam James, Dante Stills, JT Daniels, and Bryce Ford Wheaton. They didn't have a lineman.
Yeah, and then it was Johnny Unitas. Was that the JT Daniels one? I think.
Yeah, I'd mentioned it. The fact that he brought up the Johnny.
He's been on a few. He was on the Maxwell as well. So I know something else I was going to say about something that I'd seen recently was Mike O'Laughlin, boys. Sounds like Mike O is going to be. I mean, he hasn't practiced yet really hardly, but sounds like he may be good to go next Thursday. That's going to be big if he is. That's going to make a big difference. Because I know, in our preview show, like I said, I'm not going to try to give away too many spoilers, but spoiler alert, that was one thing that I thought, would hurt West Virginia is not having a second, tight end. I know Traylon Davis is probably going to play some if necessary, but not one with experience because that's kind of what you brought Polende in for. But if O'Laughlin can go and you got both of them, that's going to really help the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and Michael Laughlin's definitely an elite blocker. He's definitely, when he's in the game, you notice. And when you were talking about shoring up that right side of the line, which you guys will hear in our Pitt preview, but that's something we talk about, Jordan had mentioned, if you're looking for a weak link in our chain of armor on the offensive line, it's that right tackle position. So if you were looking for a way to shore that up, bringing back a guy like Michael Laughlin is definitely a way to, plug that hole.
Yeah, I just think it adds an advantage to have two tight ends. And I've said before that I think adding Polende coming from Colorado, I think that's going to be a big addition just in who he is and having, the hands that he has. And they say that he can catch the ball really well. But when you add in two tight ends, that really affects that defensive front for Pitt, who everybody thinks is so daggone good. So I think that really is a really big advantage for West Virginia, especially for week 1.
Yeah, it's gonna be big, and hopefully, he may not be able to play the full game, but even getting a little bit of them is going to help your offense, which is going to really help you in this game. That's what you're going to need is some good offense, some good pass protection. I know Pat Narduzzi doesn't really want West Virginia to run the ball. He's going to do everything he can to stop the run. And, they're going to man up on the outside some as well. So you're going to have opportunity to get pass protection. And that's going to really help that area because West Virginia's going to need to attack there. Let's see. Oh, it's my dad in here. Eric Cruz. Can't wait to watch our Ears play. Supporting you guys from Florida. Appreciate y'all. Let's go. Hey, Mountaineers. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Appreciate you always supporting us as well. That means
thanks,
a lot.
Dad.
Silas.
Really appreciate it.
Oh, here we go. He's talking about the meetup, before the backyard brawl, gentlemen. This is good info right here from Silas. Appreciate it, Silas. Found the post I mentioned in your chat last week about the PNC Park WVU tailgate. It's posted on the WVU Alumni Association Twitter feed. Starts at 4, runs to 6:30. So I'm gonna check that out. What is it? WVU Alumni Association. Okay, on Twitter. Yeah, I'll make note of that so we can check that out because that way we can meet up with some people, boys.
Yeah. For sure, that's going to be exciting.
Sounds good to me.
I also wanted to mention the Twitter thing right now. Fox College Football's got their poll going for the best fan base, and West Virginia was the 7th seed, and we've now made it to the Final Four, and we're going up against Oklahoma. So if you guys have Twitter out there, make sure you get out there and vote on that. Right now, it's there's 23,000 votes so far. Oklahoma's up on us by 6%, so 47 to 53. So get out there if you guys have Twitter. Make sure you vote on that. You got another day and 18 hours left. I'm sure it doesn't do much, but hey, we're that fan base. We like to be loud and out there, so could do that as well if you're on Twitter.
Hey, already a great accomplishment making it to the Final Four, but I hope we win it.
Yeah, we've been stomping people too. I mean, we have absolutely been mollywhopping people.
Yeah,
I think we beat Michigan State by about 23% or something like that. It's been,
Jeez.
So we can't lose that streak to Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. At least we could hopefully beat them in that, since we haven't been able to beat them in football since the Fiesta Bowl back in the day. Hey, but fingers crossed for this year, right? That being said, like I said, continue in the chat. We'll stay with you for a little bit longer here, as long as you guys are there in chat, dropping questions or comments, concerns, whatever, and we'll address those as we go on throughout. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. That helps this video's performance, helps our future videos performances as well. Hit the subscribe button, helps get more of this Mountaineer football content out to Mountaineer Nation, and hit the notification bell beside the subscribe button if you're subscribed. It'll notify you anytime we go live. And then, like I said, subscribe to those other 2 channels if you would, please. WVU Sports Now. It is linked in the chat, and Voice of College Football, West Virginia Mountaineers channel, also linked in the chat. Subscribe to those. We're going to be featured on those heavily for this Mountaineer football season. And, of course, WV Sports Now for the foreseeable future, as we are a part of their podcast network now, and really appreciative of those things. That being said, gentlemen, there is one more thing that stuck out to me. I know we were talking about some of the interviews. Neil Brown's interview, which I'm sure there's some things in there we could probably talk about, but also Sean Reagan and Dante Wright had their coach interviews this week. And one of the things that stuck out to me in Dante Wright's interview, talking about, the safeties and things, is that he wouldn't name, he said he didn't want to get into specifics because I guess they're trying to keep it secret, but he said, you may see us in packages where we're pulling a guy in from, another position group to play, which is essentially Mike linebacker. And you're like, what? They've got him playing there and stuff. So I think that got me to thinking that we may see some packages where you have something like Davis Mallinger at Spear, Jasir Cox sliding over into the will linebacker. And then to me, that person he's talking about pulling over to where they're essentially playing a Mike linebacker role, the most likely ones to me would be like a Marcus Floyd, Charles Woods, or Hershey McLaurin, somebody like that, if you're in a heavy pass package. So I don't know, just something interesting that stuck out to me is him saying that in some of our packages, you're going to be surprised of what position groups we're pulling guys from to play, linebacker and other positions. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I hadn't actually got a chance to listen to Dante Wright. I saw it today, and I hadn't had a chance to listen to it, but that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, him and Sean Reagan both had some good points, but that's one that stuck out the most to me because he was saying something about, how they're having players train at multiple positions and how they're trying to be interchangeable with having athletic people that they can play in multiple positions, and said, you're going to be surprised. He said, I'm not going to get into details, but he said, y'all will be surprised. So I'm interested in going to be trying to look for some sneaky moves in the defensive lineups now in the backyard brawl.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to bring up again real quick because I
Go ahead.
Brown mentioned his name the other day, and I haven't got to comment on it yet. But I'm gonna keep preaching it. Asani Redwood, guys, he's sneaky good. True freshman. I've preached it a million times. I'm gonna keep saying it a million times. I'm saying a million more times. That guy has played football for 2 years, had almost 20 sacks in one season, and has been getting praise from our coaches already. I think by the end of this year, he's really going to be pushing for a spot on the 2 deep. And there's going to be some games this year, especially later on towards the season, where you guys are just going to be like, "Who is that guy?" And it's going to be Asani Redwood. Just to keep throwing him out there because I'm just a big fan.
No, I agree. I don't know how long it's going to take him to get in there, but that guy's got size and amazing pass rushing abilities. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens throughout his career. He's definitely one to watch for sure. I'm glad you pointed him out. WVU fan 23 in the chat. Appreciate you dropping in. As always, glad to see you in there. Appreciate your support. He says, I believe a big part of the outcome of the game will be Graham Harrell and his play calling. We will get to see what he brings to being our OC. Steven, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what Graham Harrell brings because it's going to be more of a mixture of pass and run. Of course, it's going to be the air raid offense, but I don't think it's going to be the same type of air raid offense that everybody's used to, where it's just super pass happy all afternoon. I think that the addition of the run game is going to be a pleasant surprise, and I think that what we see out of Tony Mathis in this offense is going to be very a very big positive in week one, especially because when you face a defensive line like Pitt has, I think that if you can run well against an offensive or a defensive line like that, then that only bodes well for the future of your program. But I think that the explosivity, I guess, if I'm pronouncing that right, of this
I think that's
offense
right. Sounds right.
is the most exciting part for me. Is not being so bland, I guess.
Yeah, man. If there's anything that Neil Brown's done, it's been play some bland offense.
Yeah, very much so. Very much just I mean, and that's been the thing with it too, is the way that we've had to play, whether it be personnel at quarterback and the offensive line, being as weak as it was, from lack of personnel among other things, youth, inexperience, whatever the list goes on. The one way West Virginia's had to play on offense has had to be short little, dink and dunk plays and these long methodical drives to where you got to do 12 to 15 plays and there's not hardly any room for error. You make one mistake, get behind the sticks on a first down and face 2nd and 12, you're in trouble, can hurt yourself when you're having to play that way. And so this year, West Virginia hopefully is going to open it up and not have to have, there's going to be less room for, or more room for error, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, because you're not going to be having to worry about these 12 to 15 methodical play drives. You're going to have an offense that can strike fast if necessary.
Yeah, and I think that it's honestly going to be a bit of a barometer of success compared to last season. Because you think about last season, I think that we were one of the worst teams in the Big 12 and probably one of the worst teams in the country at, or struggling with second, going into it and being second and long and third and long. It always seemed like that we were getting no yards on first down, almost no yards on second down. Then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. And, it's really hard to win a game when you're like that. So if you want to look for an early barometer that you can look at and know if West Virginia is trending up or down, I think that might be the one to look at. It's just, where are we at on 2nd and 3rd down?
Yeah, that's true. First down success is big, especially when you're facing a team, like Pitt that's had a good defense and has a strong defensive line. That being said, I know, Stephen, I mentioned a few things from the press conferences and stuff, but I know you had a chance to check them out and listen to Sportsline and things like that. So what about you? Anything that you've heard that, was maybe interesting that you've heard, whether it be from the press conferences this week or anything, in the past week that stood out to you, in regards to the Backyard Brawl or the upcoming season that, you wanted to touch on here?
No, not really too much. I just thought it'd pretty exciting how you can move pieces around, and how Dante Wright said that people would be very surprised about what pieces were in what place. And so I'm kind of intrigued on. I don't really know what that means, but
We're gonna have
very
Dante
intrigued on
Stills
what
at
that means.
linebacker.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. It got my mind like thinking like, oh man, they could do some crazy stuff. Well, gentlemen, chat seems to be quieting down a little bit, so we'll get ready to get out of here before too long. That being said, like I said, one more time, if you haven't yet, hit the like button. If you're watching us live. If you're watching on the playback, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. And please subscribe to the WVU Sports Now channel and the West Virginia Mountaineers at the Voice of College Football channel. Be catching us on those channels here in the near future as the Mountaineer football season gets ready to kick off. And Country Roads Webcast will have a lot of coverage, a lot more content coming at you in the near future. But final thoughts, whether it be, backyard brawl related, the CRW news from this week, anything you want to get off your chest that you want to touch on before we get ready and wrap this thing up for too much longer.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks again, you guys, the fans, everybody out there. We're making big moves, and reach out to us though. Let us know what kind of post game content you would like, because that's going to be something we're really going to try to tailor to you guys. Really trying to figure out what you guys want to be hearing post game. So if you got anything that you want to hear in those post games, let us know. Reach out. Suggestions, they're always appreciated. We really take your guys voice into consideration. And again, it just feels like the calm before the storm. You know what I mean? There's not much going on. It's just in that kind of waiting period of what's going to happen next. Really, probably no big news drops until our quarterback's named, and then it's game time, boys. I mean, it's Acrisure Stadium at 7:00, and game day. So
can't wait. Yep, it's the dog days for sure. But I'm super excited. I think this is going to be a great season for West Virginia. But not only that, I definitely think it's going to be the best season for us, gentlemen, here at the Country Roads Webcast, and really excited about all the moves that are happening. And, of course, the season getting ready to kick off. Best time of year already, but it just got a whole lot better, I think, for us and the things that are happening moving forward. Steven, what about you? Anything you want to say in regards to the announcements or the West Virginia season and just the future in general, I guess?
About what announcements in particular? About our announcements?
About ours, specifically.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about WVU football.
Yeah, I guess announcements is pretty broad. It could have been Slovis, anything really, I guess, right?
Yeah, I didn't really know what she was particularly pertaining to. Yeah, super excited about all of the things that are happening for our show. I think that all of us have, really put a lot of work in. I know Cruz, you especially put in a lot of work into making this thing grow. So it's nice to finally see things start to roll in that regard. But as far as the season, I am super excited. I don't know if tomorrow is technically game week or if it's Sunday, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's tomorrow.
It may as well be.
Officially 1 week out tomorrow, and we'll be on the road up to Pittsburgh, I guess, and I'm super excited. I think I said it time and time again that this is my favorite rivalry, and yeah, super excited.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very excited. We didn't want to get into too much about the Pitt game because we have our Season 5, Episode 130 of the CRW podcast will be dropping tomorrow at 8 a.m., and that is where you can hear our expansive thoughts on the matchups with Pitt, our keys to victory, score predictions, and then, of course, our traditional segments, Mountaineer News, Off-Topic Babble, and, of course, Mountaineer Multiple Choice Game Show to wrap it up. So that's coming tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that at 8 a.m. Releasing on our YouTube, and, of course, now on the WVU Sports Now YouTube as well. And then the audio version will be up on all the podcast platforms. We're really excited. Can't wait for you guys to check it out, and excited to hear your all's thoughts on that, and hopefully off to a great 2022 Mountaineer football season. Just about a week away now. James Wilson said, enjoyed your show. Appreciate that, James. Hope you continue to tune in throughout the season, as we will be dropping more Mountaineer football content by the dozen, moving forward. It's going to be a lot more. So that being said, gentlemen, I guess we'll get ready to take off out of here. Like I said, the Season 5, Episode 130 of the CRW podcast will release at 8 a.m. tomorrow. We figured, we dropped a promo on our social medias. If you guys follow us there, which you can, Twitter at WVU Country Roads, Facebook and Instagram Country Roads Webcast, as you see on the screen there. But I figured to go out, releasing at 8 a.m. tomorrow, we would go out with the promo video playing and let that in the live stream for you guys. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow, Season 5, Episode 130 of the CRW podcast. Promo will play, but that being said, for Stephen and Bradley, I'm Jordan. Until next time, let's go Mountaineers. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. First game preview of the year.
There's a lot of rivalries in college football, and there's only one brawl.
So at a young age, I was taught like this. I do not like Pitt, and I will never like Pitt.
It's going to be really important for both programs. I think this could be really a program-defining game for West Virginia and Pitt.
The one game that mattered the most. We asked relevant questions that anybody knew. We might get some of these right.
Score, I think that it's going to be Pitt.